day 2 of the Real Business Strategy Workshop. My name is Rachel Brinke. I am a business strategist and intellectual property attorney for entrepreneurs. And yesterday we dove right in to all of the content, but I wanted to take a quick pause today because I just jumped right into it and we just really dug deep, and it was about 50 minutes long. I'm not going to keep you that long today. We did a lot of the heavy lifting. If you did not join us yesterday, that's okay. Go to rachelbrinke.com/strategy and you can watch the video and get the downloads from yesterday, and today will make a little bit more sense because today we are going to be continuing on learning what my REAL method, REAL, to strategic business decision making. Here's the thing. So many business coaches, so many business strategists are out here teaching you 5 hacks of Instagram, how to post on Pinterest, how to do this with Facebook Reels for 10x engagement. They're hopping you from technology to technology without any strategy, without going through the steps to see if it's actually going to be a viable option for your business. And what happens when you're jumping around and around? You're starting over new every single time. You're confusing your potential customers every single time. You're wasting your time, money, and energy. All of these resources, time's an infinite amount. We cannot get it back. Money may be replenishable, but wouldn't we rather be on a trajectory by being strategic? And that is the goal. So yesterday, we went over the RE of REAL. It was research and evaluation. So again, make sure you snag that PDF and everything and watch the video from yesterday, because by doing that heavy lifting, I do it, my team does it, we do it for all business decision making. It is the lens that we look through. We're then able to go through and finish out this decision-making process. Research, evaluation, act and analyze, and learn. And then once we learn, we rinse and repeat, or we completely ditch it if we absolutely need to. The reason that we want to be methodical in these choices is that we may be at a specific life stage that we're not able to sustain going live every single day. Our example that we used yesterday was, are we going to, we know that Instagram Reels can improve the algorithm and our reach to our potential customers. In the research stage, we're going to look at, what is the maximum you see people saying? What is the minimum? Yeah, I apologize for that lost audio. Tell me where you guys heard off. Sorry, I had a phone call and I forgot to turn on. Okay, good. I'm back. What was the last thing you guys heard? I apologize for that. Wait 1 second for it to catch up and see if technology, even yesterday, the technology was a hot mess and working against me. All right, I'm going to give it 1 second. I'm going to get some water while you guys get caught up real quick. Okay. We good? Are we good? Okay, I'm going to pick up right here because I think the audio is back. So just to recap, yesterday we went over RE of the REAL method. It was research and evaluate. Research, we're going to sit and actually research what are the most commonly accepted or the statistics out there for the action that we want to take. Then in the evaluation, we're going to look through the lens of where we are at in our life, in our business. Do we have the money for it? Do we have the time for it? Do we have the strengths for it? I have an entire PDF that's going to help you, and it revolves around this idea of real business, real life, and you'll be able to make decisions. But today we're going to rest on act and analyze. Now, one thing is just keep in mind that we're going to be doing giveaways at the end. We've got $300 of contracts. I've got some courses to give away, so stick around. I've already seen some of the names comment, but if you guys drop some emojis now, get this going, we get more people on, maybe we'll be able to add a couple more giveaways. Just an FYI, if you don't know my history, I started out as an online apparel store. I wasn't even planning on being a business coach, but in the process of me learning how to do business, and this was MySpace days, pre-Facebook, we didn't have a lot of freemium information, I had to learn really quickly how to do business. And I fought against a lot of things, and I jumped hack to hack, trying to learn MySpace and this and that and everything over the years. And honestly, as much as I loved the growth of, the struggle brings growth, I wish that I had had this structure of REAL so that I could make strategic decisions from the very beginning, because if I had, I feel like my trajectory would have been a lot quicker. I'm not totally poo-pooing, the success that I've had, the things that I've done. I just would have loved to not have gone through the overwhelm and the frustration and have had a structure like this. So we've already reviewed yesterday. Let's go ahead and dive into the A. This is the actual act and analyze portion of this structure. We're going to keep using this example of, we know that we want that our consumer avatars on Instagram We've already nailed our unique serving position, and we know that the algorithm sucks. Like, it's killing us. It's changing all the time. But we know that, like, right now, and I'm not here to like teach you how to do Instagram Reels. I'm walking you through this REAL method of how you would utilize it for making decision in your business. And the decision that we're trying to decide right now is Instagram Reels, we know will help our reach in our business. But the question is, am I just going to sit and listen to one person that says I have to post 10 times a day and I'll maybe get a 30% increase? Or am I going to talk to someone else that may say post once a day or once every 3 days and get a 20% increase? Like, is it worth killing ourselves for that high end because that one Instagram guru told us when it doesn't fit into the rest of the decision making? And often what happens is we jump into this panic pivot. We're like, oh my gosh, the algorithm's killing us. We got to do this. We see that this person over here has all these likes, all these followers, all this engagement. I'm going to do exactly what she's doing. But if it doesn't fit within your content runway, which I talk so extensively about in Real Biz Accelerator with my students, content runway is like the center of everything that we're doing. All right. So just jumping on and saying, hey, I'm going to do Reels without doing the whole structure, you're going to give up because you're all of a sudden going to realize once you start acting, and I'm going to walk you through the steps here in a second about truly to act and commit to acting and analyzing that to see if it's actually working for you. Because oftentimes we are driven by panic or fear through the entire process. We jump on a hack. We jump from hack to hack to hack to hack, and we're starting over each time. Or we jump onto one and we don't fully implement it within the confines, the evaluation of where we're at in our business with our resources in our life. And then, like I said, I'm going to tell you guys in a bit the checklist of the act and analyze portion. We don't actually fully act it out. And what ends up happening there is if you're not properly fulfilling the action and and giving it time, which is one of the key things, and taking the time to analyze it, you know what you're going to go? Oh, well, I only got 2 followers. Guess it's not working. When sometimes it's a long game. And that's what we're going to dive into here. So after evaluation is when we set up for action. But before we can do that, we kind of have to have like this pre-action that we want to sit down and do. What are the goals for this specific decision or action that we're taking? All right. What are our actual like key performance indicators that we're wanting to improve? Is it direct sales? And I don't mean direct sales like MLM, but is it like I'm going to post on Instagram or a reel on Instagram and people buy my product or service? Is that your goal? Is it to increase likes, engagements, impressions, comments? Like, what is your actual specific goal? Because if you just go out and say, all right, I'm going to commit to a reel a day for a month, but you don't really have any direction, you have no determination of whether or not it's actually working. When you sit down to analyze, you're not actually going to have anything to analyze. You're going to be working from your gut, which your gut is overwhelmed. That's why you guys are watching this, and I don't want you to be. Your gut is not going to know what to cognitively look for. And that's not to say we shouldn't follow our intuition. Sometimes you know when things are not right and when things are wrong, but we want to be as very methodical. So we're going to start with our main goals. What is the goal of this specific action? And then secondary, what are our peripheral goals, right? And yes, they can change as you go along. You know, and I love that one of you guys commented that, Luna Studios. I love that because one of the things that I love about being a business owner is that we get to shift and change. It's like shape shifting, right? We're the chameleon. We get to make the decisions of what we want to do. And sometimes if you truly commit into this act and analyze, so we're going through REAL, you may end up getting through the L in the learn phase and decide, wait, I want my goals to change. So I would encourage you in the timeline I'm going to give you guys here in a couple of minutes, I would encourage you to commit and act through the full timeline that you pick and then decide to learn, and you can change your goals and your peripheral goals because you need to give it time to work. Nothing in business, this whole like build it and they will come thing is not going to work. The longer that you're more consistent, and we talked about this yesterday, we're not looking for quantum leaps of like 25%, 30% in a day. We are looking for like 1% incremental increases that are going to compound. And that's in my notes. We'll get to it in a bit. But yes, I'm so glad that you brought that up because you do want your goals to change, but you need to let the time period, the content runway, and the runway of action to fill analyze. Because I'll tell you what, and it's funny, you guys can check her out when we get off of here. One of my colleagues that I know on Instagram, Litchfield Media, she does a lot of like Facebook ads, Instagram reels, and she just did a case study on if you do an Instagram reel a day, do you really see a difference? And how did she know what she meant by see a difference, she had a list of like goals and peripheral goals and key performance indicators to evaluate. If she had only hooked it on like direct sales or just on likes, then she may have realized she would have probably just given up. She did a full picture. You can go check out her evaluation of it when we get off of here. And I've got a couple of the case studies that I share with my Real Biz Accelerator students, like especially like Facebook ads and stuff like that, because we want to make sure that we're looking at it big picture and not panic changing. So goals and peripheral goals. And then also, what do we want the outcome to be? I know that sounds a little elementary. Like a lot of us would think, oh, we have a business plan, we're going to get it and do it. I am one of those too that I get excited about TikTok or Periscope or the new thing that comes along and I want to try it. And I just jump in and don't even walk through these steps. I am with you. Just because I've been doing this 16 years, sometimes it's do as I say, not as I do. But I have to reel myself in. See what I did there? Reel. That's REEL. But I have to reel myself in because here is the thing. If you are someone that is sitting there and your family or self is financially dependent upon you, if you have a team that is dependent upon you, if you are very committed to your business plan, this is going to be something seamless that you're going to insert and put in. You don't want to just haphazardly be doing things because other people are doing it. Yeah, Jenna, I'm one of those people that I want to try it all too, and I do kind of dabble in it so that I can talk about it with you guys, but I also know by using this real structure, I'm not going to jump in to do it just to have a case study because it's not worth having to start all over again. Because look at it this way, when we get into the actions, and I truly believe this is especially when it comes to marketing, let's say you're going to apply the REAL structure to like choosing a CRM, like a client management system, or I'm trying to think of something else, like your finances and so forth. You may not need 3 months is what I suggest for marketing. 3 months of, consistent touch points, like with this Reels example that we're using. But so you may not need that long. And that's why I say you want to pick your timeline up front and fully commit to it. But really, please, and I get it as entrepreneurs, it's so easy for us to be like, ooh, shiny, the next thing, this person's doing that. I got to keep up with them. Or, oh crap, it's not working. Commit to a time period. I really wouldn't do less than 30 days. So like if you're trying to set up your finance structure, and maybe I'm a big fan of the profit first type of structure. So then you have your different bank accounts. Just for me, the way that my brain works, I know I move my money here, I put this there, it tells me my percentage and all of this. But if after 30 days or 45 days, you're like, that's just not working for me, then change it. You don't necessarily have to wait 3 months. The reason I make the 3-month suggestion is because my brain works in buckets, and that's a quarter for the year. We have 4 quarters in the year, so we have 4 3-month blocks. We also develop our content runway this way. If you even just go back and scroll through my podcast, every month is also broken down into a different topic. My brain just works that way. It just works better, and I know that I'm going to be having consistent touch points in my marketing within that time period, okay? And I know that it's really difficult, and I'm using this Reels example, but just substitute it for something else that you've been wanting to do. Maybe you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook or TikTok or whatever it is. If you're someone that's like, oh yeah, I know I need to do that, well, first of all, ask yourself, and we evaluated this yesterday, why do you need to do that? That's going to be in your research phase. And then when you ask yourself, why are you not doing that? That's going to be in your evaluation phase with that whole PDF that I have for y'all. Once you get through that, you're either going to decide, okay, this isn't for me, or you're going to start acting like this. So I really suggest though, and I force myself into these 3-month blocks because it's also easier for key performance indicators as well as seasons. And I think this is going to make a difference on what type of business that you are. I know very specifically, I work with a lot of photographers and fitness business owners, and they have very distinct seasons in their business of when they're going to be heightened with client inquiries, client demand, and they're going to have lower seasons as well. And so this will help for you to align. You can sit down. Let's give a good example here. Say we're going to do Instagram Reels, and our goal is that we want to have direct signups for our fitness business, for our fitness gym, right? Maybe we run a CrossFit gym. If you're doing it in a time period, probably during the holidays when people are not really thinking top of mind of fitness, and when I say people, I'm thinking client avatar, newer individuals that are going to sign up. So not existing members or past members, but members that are going to be brand new leads. You're probably not going to want to do an action with a goal of direct signups in the midst of Halloween and Thanksgiving. People are eating turkey and stuffing. Not me, I'm allergic to turkey, but they're going to be eating that. They're not signing up for the gym. But by sitting and looking at the quarters, they can start over January 1 or know that the actions can give them a content runway into the time period when the audience is ready to make the action that you're asking them to do. All right. So that's just one example. Let's take like a photography example. Maybe you're a wedding photographer. If you were looking to book weddings, you're probably going to move into a content runway with your Instagram Reels or whatever, with more of an engagement and authenticity and an authority type position in the content you're going to put out during your wedding season, right? You're not actually looking to book weddings necessarily during wedding season, because the way the time period goes, most people have already booked for their weddings for that season. So you just want to look at the timeline of the seasons of where your business goes. If you're one of those that you have all the time clients or customers coming in, wonderful. You can create the seasons. You can create 3 months to be very focused on warming up the audience. And then another 3 months, and this will be like the content in your reels, another 3 months of actual call to action to whatever your goals are, right? Your goals and your peripheral goals. So commit to a time period. I really do suggest a 3-month block to really get enough touch points, especially for marketing, or if it's like your email marketing as well, social media. 3-month is a good resting period. And actually, one thing that I really like about a 3-month time period, if you've gone through R&E and you're getting to this act portion and you have this feeling of, I don't want to commit to this action for 3 months, ask yourself why. And if you really truly are apprehensive about it, and not because you're making excuses, we talked about excuses yesterday. If you're truly apprehensive and it doesn't feel right, then why even waste a single day on that action? This is why we walk through R, E, A, and L, and there's checks and balances through each of them to either commit us to the next step or for us to start over and find something new. If maybe you sat here and you've done the research for reels, like we've talked about, you've done the research, you evaluated, okay, great, it's summertime, my kids are home, but I think I can hack out 3 reels a week. But then when you get to the act portion and you're like, I really just don't want to show up, I'm just really uncomfortable, and I really don't think I can show up. You know, the example that I gave yesterday, even leading into doing this workshop, I had pre-recorded some videos that I wanted to have for y'all to kind of get your brain juices flowing. The whole busyness is not business, and get over the imposter syndrome. A drowning person doesn't care if you're an Olympic swimmer. I had pre-recorded these, but because I was trying to stick to this structure that my business mentor had given me, it was very like, it was not serving you. There was no energy. There was no serving me. And so I pitched it. And when I got to RE and I got to act, I pitched it and I went right back to how do I research and what can I do for me? Or I just changed the action. Luna Studios said, or I didn't get dressed today. What y'all don't see is that from here, great. From there down, it's Disney pajamas. So, but they're still black. They fit with the theme, right? So you want to commit to that 3-month time period, roughly. You can, little wiggle room. Remember, you're the chameleon and the captain of your ship. Then we also, this is really key. If you get nothing else out of today, this is so important. And when I discovered this, I was working within a mastermind group and someone like had said this in passing. It completely like blew my mind and opened it up to freedom. If y'all recall from yesterday, or if you followed me on social media for any amount of time, my goals with my business and what we really put in the forefront with my Real Biz Accelerator group coaching students is freedom. And it's 3-pronged. It's financial, physical, and mental. And so for me, this, what I'm about to share with you, like opened up my mind and helped to take like a burden off of me when I'm evaluating the goals, the peripheral goals, and doing the action. When in our action, we want to strive for 1% improvement in those goals weekly. We're not looking for like a completely like, what's the word I'm looking for? I got the Star Wars, like into the sky thought. I don't even know what the word is at this point. My sons who love Star Wars will speed of light. I don't know why that was so hard to come up with, but we're not looking for like a speed of light trajectory, because actually what happens, think of like a shooting star. It's beautiful, it's quick, but it's bright, then it goes out. And if you're looking for a huge jump at one time, and if you get it without a lot of work, great. But oftentimes too, if you're striving for like a 10, 20, 50% increase weekly, you're going to burn out. you're definitely going to burn out. And my little side note here too is make sure you're not getting burnout in this. At any time when you're in the action phase, even if you had committed to a certain like statistic that we had determined in the research phase that was good, if it's still too much for you, change it. Anyways, so circle back around to what we're talking about here. We want to strive for 1% improvement in the action that we're doing. So whether it is we're doing a call to action, we're simply wanting to get engagement on social, maybe it's email opens, maybe it's doing follow-ups with potential customers or clients who had never like bought into your products or service, don't only strive for 1% weekly. 1% doesn't sound like a lot, but compound it. And I'm not even going to try to do the math. I am an attorney and business strategist by trade. I'm not even going to do the math. 1% compounding every single week is going to get you where you want to go. And I think the biggest question when it comes to action that I always ask myself, and you guys see those things on social that's like, where would you be a year from now if you started today? It's true. Do the math. If you started today after you've gone through RE, you get to this action, you commit to the action, and you're evaluating and analyzing for 1% improvement weekly, where are you going to be at the end of 3 months? Where are you going to be at in a year? And what if you don't do the action? And that's another thing. And that is so huge. I understand many of you, I don't know where you're at in your financial revenue goals. And I talked yesterday how I think that financial freedom is so important, not just to help sustain my family and to do the things that I love in life, but I can make an impact. I can give away courses to you guys. We donate to local women's shelters, products and services to help those that want to, not only just to help the shelter, but for those that want to get into entrepreneurship. But finances, it's honestly, and stick with me, please don't shame me from what I have to say. If you work incrementally like this with this 1% goal per week, it is not that difficult to get to your first 6 figures, then your second 6 figures. You just have to be very methodical and consistent. And I'll tell you what, getting started is the hardest part. So don't fall into this idea of, Rachel taught us REAL. Once I get to act, the money's going to start coming in. Well, first of all, you got to do the work. But second of all, I want you to think of it like this. And before I give this example, I just want you to know that I have taught this example for years, especially when it's related to marketing and business activities. My team will use this against me and I say against, like it's in jest, but my team will use this against me when I'm starting to feel frustrated. So you're not alone. I've been doing this for 16 years. But whatever action that you're deciding to do, when you go to act, it is like a huge boulder. All right? It's like a huge, huge, huge boulder. Think of like Indiana Jones. Told you I'm a big Disney fan. We love the Indiana Jones show, and you've seen it on the movie. The big boulder, chases him and he swings on the vine, yada, yada, yada. For me, I would fall under the boulder because I can't swing on a vine. But it's hard if you're trying to push that to get it going. But once it gets going, what do you need to do? Little taps, little taps, little taps. So translate that over into your business. So when you first start committing to an act here and you're just focused on this 1% weekly, you may feel like you're not getting anywhere, but what? When you go to analyze, you'll realize you've moved that boulder 2 feet. And then the next month, another 2 feet. And the next month, another 2 feet. And you can equate this to finances or insights or anything like that. There was a question, let me grab that, about insights. Luna Studios asked, are these tracked in a journal or through Instagram insights? Good question. Oh, Kelly, fantastic. Kelly's on. I just called you out, Kelly, for Kelly is like my right hand, and she always uses my own teachings against me because we are entrepreneurs. We love our business. And so it's so easy for us to go on our gut and emotions and not be as methodical as this. So what Luna Studios was asked are, do we track in whatever it is? So like if it's your key performance indicators, your goals, your peripheral goals, how do you track it? Great question. That was actually going to be one of my next things on analyzing. You want to make sure you track it. It's a lot like weight loss. You can, and like I raised my hand because I've struggled with it. I had thyroid cancer, and you may not realize the improvement that you're doing if you're not tracking like the food you're eating and the weight. So we track it on what's called Monday.com. In fact, we use it for everything. So for every task that we have, we walk through and we have bullet point items, and this even works if it's just you. In fact, I would encourage you, if it's just you in business, to start when you're doing, oh my gosh, okay, I didn't even plan this. I'm excited now. Y'all see, I get super excited. Even if it's just you right now, And your long-term goal, or you may not even know that your long-term goal is to have a team or just to keep yourself on task. When you sit down to do the action, write out every single step of the workflow, because you're going to be able to cross that with these KPIs, key performance indicators, in your analyzation stage to determine what was good, what wasn't. And then next time when your 3 months is up, because remember, REAL, research, evaluate, act and analyze, and then learn. We glean what we're going to from the information, then we fine tune. Just as a little clip notes, little preview, you're only going to change 1 or 2 things. You're not going to redo the whole thing, and then you're going to do it again. You do the action again. But what helps you is because we want continuity and consistency, because what happens if you go and put something out there, you do this action for 3 months, you've committed, you get your goals, you've tracked it, and then you decide, okay, well, I saw 1% here, 0% there. I saw a little movement, but not enough. And then you turn around and you try to rip it completely apart. You're just starting over. You don't have a baseline to look for that improvement from. So we use Monday.com for workflows, for tasking. In fact, I use it in the law firm and here with all the Rachel Brinke brands. We also put the key performance indicators, our goals. We also track all of our finances and everything there as well. There's also an app that you could utilize. It's called DataBox. It does cost a little bit. I think it's like $900 for the year. I don't know what it comes out to per month. The only reason that we really utilize it is because we have so many different socials and CRMs and ads accounts, and it just pulls everything into one for us, and then we're able to translate it over into Monday. But if you're looking at you've got your business, you only have a couple socials, which I highly recommend, and that's kind of one of the things in our Real Simple structure in our system that we use with Real Business Accelerator with our group coaching, is that we're looking at only focusing on one product, one offering, one social, one message. And then once you nail that and get to the level you want, then you can add on. But that's a whole nother aside. So we just want to try to keep everything and we track it. So the next question is, with the tracking here, I want you to track it. Since we're striving for improvement of 1% weekly, don't get wrapped around the axle in analytics here. But you want to track all those goals in the peripheral goals. Oh, I don't believe I defined peripheral goals, did I? So goals would be very specifically like, am I looking, is my call to action going to be like buy my product or service? A peripheral goal could be, or like a secondary goal could be simply getting eyeballs in front of your local community, trying to build up that authority. So you can be working both at the same time. You could focus on one, the other one could happen as well. But I like to keep top of mind, specifically like what I do. My main goals, and most of what I do, especially in marketing, is to help you guys, tangible tips for you. Then peripherally, I'm also thinking about, okay, I know I'm wanting to expand my audience to reach more entrepreneurs, because if I help just one person, that's fantastic. But in order to do that, I got to get on podcasts, I got to get on news media and all of this. So in my mind, I'm also thinking like public relations as a peripheral goal. So that's not my main goal. So that's kind of how you can look at it. But so what we want to do is we'll translate those goals and peripheral goals, into Monday. And I say track it weekly for those 3 months, and that's going to be your act and analyze stage. And then you're going to come around to, what did we learn from this? And what's so interesting is I'm a data junkie. It stresses me out sometimes. It especially stresses me out. And we talked a little bit, an example I gave yesterday of one of our students. She had been putting out messaging. She had been doing her content runway. Like I say, we work on 3-month blocks, and she'd been putting out her content runway. She was very clear on her consumer avatar and her unique serving position. And she ended up finding out that she was attracting somebody that wasn't her consumer avatar. How did she determine that? By sitting down and doing the analyze. So after the act stage, she did the analyzation phase, which, by the way, don't sit here and like analyze week to week to week. I want you to commit to the action for the full time period, and then we're going to make adjustments. Don't make adjustments during this runway period, during this act period, right? Wait till the end, and then we're going to learn from it and make adjustments to rinse and repeat later. But what she determined was, I'm attracting people, they're not necessarily who I thought I was going to serve. And my question to her was, do you believe that you can adequately serve them She said yes. And I said, does it serve you by serving them? Because at the end of the day, we go to sleep with ourselves. We are in our own bodies, we're in our own minds. And one of the key reasons that many people don't like their job, whether it is they're employed by someone else or as an entrepreneur, is that they don't feel fulfilled. So I would rather make less money and feel fulfilled than make more money and not really be that thrilled with who I'm working with. Like, it's just not worth it for me. Maybe earlier when I was younger, I might have been all about that, but not now. So we use these checks here where we sit and look at these goals, peripheral goals, and we do an evaluation an analyzation in this analyzation phase in order to determine who are we attracting who we want. So like her goal was to track a certain avatar. She got a different one and she was able to go through the process. And she actually said, yes, I can serve these people and I feel good. I serve myself also when I'm serving this new avatar. And so for us, that showed, okay, great, your messaging is working. There's a few things to fine tune, move forward on it. If she had said, no, I'm not really wanting to attract these people, what do we have to do? Then we need to fine tune the messaging to quit attracting these people and attract the ones that we don't want to. And that was the learn phase. Then we go back to R, E, A, and L. Now, what I was going to say, and I'm the same way with this, is it's very surprising when you sit and look, especially when I sit here and I feel like I'm very, very purposeful in pushing that boulder and getting it going and putting out content of what I think you guys would benefit from. My top engaging posts and the insights will show things, and I'll say it to Kelly, she's on here all the time, we'll go, well, who'd have thunk that one would have done so well? Just sometimes it resonates. And if I just bypassed all of that and turned a blind eye to it, we talked about this yesterday. And the reason I keep saying that is because I expanded a bit more on each of these points yesterday. So if you didn't watch it, go back, RachelBranke.com/strategy. Go watch it. It is a long watch, but I think it's really valuable to really understand what we're talking about today. But I would just continue trucking along, very narrow-minded on what I wanted to serve and not necessarily what you guys wanted to receive or to buy, because this is free, but buy into. And so it's all part of this analyzing phase. All right. So we have gone over the actions and analyzing. I'm not going to keep it too much longer. Tomorrow, we're going to use the example of learning. I'm going to give you a real example of this whole Reels, continue it, and we're going to kind of wrap it up, and we'll do some Q&A. Do not drop off yet. We're going to do some giveaways here in a second, but I want to recap. We are, again, REAL for those that jumped on. We've got research. So whatever action that we're looking to get into, we need to research. Like, what is the best? How many times do we post? How many times do we not post? When do we post? Blah, 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 blah. We evaluate within the confines and the context of our real business, real life. Got the whole PDF for you guys on that. Act and analyze, and then learn. We're going to go over learn tomorrow. But in this act and analyze, we're going to do our pre-actions of goals, peripheral goals, and what will the outcome be. We're going to set that up in like a Monday board or in a journal. You guys could even use a Google Sheets, like an Excel spreadsheet to track it as well. I like Monday just because it can do fun little things, and you can also export it and it just looks cool. Because yeah, that's all the reason, right? Just because it looks cool. And then for our action, we're going to commit to the full 3 months, typically with an asterisk if there's some wiggle room there. We're going to strive for improvement 1% weekly because we're searching for compound improvement. And we're going to do all the actions for 3 full months. Full, not halfway, not half-ass. We're going to do the full actions. So why my students let's take this Instagram Reels example. They'll say, oh yeah, Rachel, I committed to 1 reel Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 3 months. I'm like, okay, we're at the end of the 3 months. What's your analytics? What do they say? And then they tell me the analytics and I'm like, oh man, we didn't get 1% improvement. Let's go figure out why. And I go back and I scroll back through their Instagram, and guess what? There's not been 3 reels a week. And it doesn't have to necessarily be as rigid as Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If life happens, you can do like Monday, Tuesday, Friday, or whatever works for you, your customer avatar, and all of that. But they didn't actually commit to the full action. So then I come to them and I say, well, here's the bad news. We don't have a good baseline data set to work from. So you're essentially just wasted the last 3 months. We need to start over. And then once I drop the hard hammer, then I'll say, okay, there's a little bit we can still learn from this. And we can still dig in and look at the different content and see what was engaged so that their next, when they're rinsing and repeating, their REAL, we're going to go through it again, their action that they're going to run through, we'll hone in on those content pieces. But yeah, you want to fully commit. And I think, the word integrity is thrown around a lot when it's like core values, company culture, and all of that. That is one of the key ones that I absolutely hold my team to and I hold myself to as much as possible. In fact, I probably get more anxiety and guilt ridden than I should when I fail to do something for my team. But it's because I don't want to be like a bottleneck for them. And I told them I was going to do something. But in the inverse, if they forget to do something, I'm not going to ride their ass. But if they lie or try to hide it, that's when I have a problem. And so it's the same thing here. Commit to yourself with the integrity. Go back to the example. You want to be at an X point. Remember, we're talking about our goals. We want to be at an X point in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months. You're only doing yourself a disservice. You are the only one. I was actually thinking about that on my run this morning. And it was hot, humid, and I was sucking it up. And I was like, oh, I'll just keep taking breaks and stand in the shade. Then I finally, I was like, oh, it won't show up for my coach. But then I thought to myself, who's the person I'm actually hurting? Me. Because on race day, I'm not going to get to take little breaks and stop my watch. The watch and the time still keeps going. So even if you don't act, time is still going. You're going to lose those customers. And quite frankly, we talk about impact, real business, real life, serve self, those around us in our community and the world. The longer that you don't put something out, the less likely you're going to get the financial return, the intrinsic return, and the less purpose and impact that you're actually going to make. And I think that's why the majority of us get into business. So I can sit here and say, REAL, let's use this structure. But at the end of the day, I just want you to utilize the structure to the best that it fits for you. Tomorrow, we're going to dig into the learn aspect, but just realize that if you don't commit to it, the only person you're hurting is yourself. All right. Do me a favor. If you guys can go ahead and drop either like where you're from, maybe what you learned, or a fun emoji, keep it clean, into the comments. We will do a giveaway. We'll do a couple of giveaways here in a minute. And I will be sending this out as a replay as well. So if you are already on the email list, you got the reminder for today, you're already on. If you're not on it yet, rachelbrinke.com/strategy. You'll be able to get the page. It's going to have yesterday's video, the PDF that is a big heavy lifting for the evaluation of the real business, real life. And then you'll also have this video as well. But you don't have to. You can come back tomorrow. I'll be back at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow to help wrap this thing up and bring it home. And yeah, so I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Also, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. I understand that I talk extremely fast. I know. Even though I'm from Texas, I live on the East Coast now. It's what we do. Oh, Luna, I liked you until that. No, my husband's from Ohio. I'm from Texas. So, all right. Ooh, we've got London, UK, New Hampshire in the house. Okay, I'm just going to randomly, Kelly, I don't know if you're still on here. You can watch it on the replay and get it organized for sending them the giveaways. I'm going to pick, okay, I've got $300 contract credit. I'm just going to randomly scroll wherever my finger stops. B. Haggerty photo. And then let me do another one. I'm afraid I'm going to hang up on you guys if I'm just scrolling and click. And then holiday meals, you get a pick of one of the courses off of rachelbrinke.com. So we have legal, I think we have our real analytics, which really digs into KPIs. Like what I talked about today was very high level of what kind of KPIs you want to look for. I dig in deep to really, okay, what does this KPI tell me? And that's really heavy in the learn phase. We're going to go over a little bit of it tomorrow, but you'll be able to identify and dig deep to make good decisions. Buckeyes. I like the candy Buckeyes, not so much the football team, but that's okay. All right, friends, thank you so much. I really am sorry I went over. I plan on only doing 30 minutes today, but we had a little technology hiccup again. As always, feel free, PM me, make a comment. Let me know if there's something specific that you want me to clear up or if you want me to address tomorrow. And I'll be back at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, June 17th for day 3. Talk to you guys then.